Hello and welcome to Beach View, our podcast about different things and/or stuff.
Hello, today we're talking about some more stuff as we do each week. Today we're talking about Death Notes episodes 17 through 21 in a continuation of our review/commentary of the Death Note series.
Yes. Yeah, so this is the next episodes. Yeah, so at the top, what'd you think?
So I have to say there were a couple of things I was a little confused about because it's been a little while since we watched the series, but and there were a couple little things as we get into each episode I'll kind of point out, but I was like, wait, I don't remember what that little piece is about. But for the most part, I think it was a fine continuation. Of course, I think like Misa character is like super goofy.
Yeah.
You know, in a little stereotypical kind of thing. But I thought it was fine. I mean, it wasn't like super awesome episodes, but I'll say that. But I mean, it was, continuation of the plot, so it wasn't like terrible either. So, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so my first observation here is we've switched genres, I feel like.
Yeah?
So this feels like superhero-y to me, because, like, it's a bit goofier in tone.
Yeah.
And, like, they have this weird home-based tower thing special made for it, and that feels just kind of like the Justice League to me.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, I don't know, this feels like in a superhero genre space. And, we have these, like, new people added to the investigation team, and, like, some of the characters are acting a bit different than before. So, like it just feels like we've kind of switched genres a bit.
Yes, I didn't
strange.
pinpoint that. Yeah, I didn't like catch that, but you're absolutely right. It had a different feel than the rest of the shows so far. And I can't say that I liked it better, because I didn't. I thought it was like just a little weird. And like I said, I was a little confused. So I think you're absolutely right. It did take a turn. And I didn't even like think about that, but that's a really good point.
Yeah, and yeah, I'd say we're definitely in the bad parts now.
Yeah, you did warn me that these weren't, the best episodes, so.
To me, at least, I think. This is weaker than the first 10 episodes, definitely.
Oh, I agree.
Although I will say, I was, like, surprised upon rewatching that some of these episodes weren't quite as bad as I remember. Like, I think 20 and 21 are fine.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Definitely agree with you there that they're not bad. They're just not as good as the rest of the show. Like episode 17, I felt like was still a little bit like I just didn't really. It was just I don't even know. It wasn't great, and I felt like it was just kind of like so dramatic. I mean, I know the whole thing is dramatic, but you know what I mean. Like it was just kind of like okay. But as we continued, like you said, episode 20 and episode 21, I thought they were fine.
Yeah. Another note at the top, we got a new intro during these episodes. What'd you think of it?
Oh, I didn't even realize because it's been so long since I watched it. I thought it was like the same intro.
Oh, so you skipped it?
No, I watched one of them and then I skipped the other ones.
Oh, okay. Well, I believe it starts at 20. I don't remember exactly, but
Oh, I think I skipped those.
Oh, okay. Well, you missed the new intro.
Oh no, I watched the whole intro on 17 and then I skipped the rest of them.
There was a new one.
I didn't even know. Okay.
Oh, do you want to listen to it now or wait till we do Death Note again?
It doesn't matter. You want me to go listen to it?
I mean, well, watch it. There's also visuals accompanying it.
Yeah. I mean, I can do it now.
Yeah, go on YouTube and look up Death Note Opening 2. You'll find it.
Okay, YouTube. Death Note Opening 2. Yeah, I definitely didn't see this. Wow, it's definitely like more aggressive feeling.
Yeah, it's a metal song. The last one was kind of alt-rocky,
Yeah,
so
like very dramatic.
it's also way goofier.
Oh, it's definitely, yes, it's definitely way goofier. It's a very like actiony, like action movie, like
Yeah.
it's a lot of action looking stuff.
Well, there's also that one scene of Ryuk dancing with an
Yeah.
apple.
Yeah, like what's that about? And the dramatic like walking slowly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, I don't
definitely.
like this intro as much as the last one.
It's very dramatic. It felt like a music video.
Yeah, I like the first one a lot better, so...
Yeah, I agree completely.
But yep, that's our new intro for the rest of the series.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'll be skipping that. Definitely way more metal.
Yep. Yeah, so you want to get into the synopses?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's start off with episode 17.
Well, first, you want me to give like a where we left off.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So, in the last set of episodes we watched, I believe 11 to 16, we were introduced to Misa Mane, who also possesses a Death Note, and she, like, was doing a whole big killing thing at a TV station. And then Light tries to find her before Elle and the investigation team does. This involves Light getting invited to the investigation team, so he's working with Elle directly. Misa ends up finding Light first, however, but she's sloppy, so she gets herself caught, which puts Light in a tough spot, so he engineers some sort of plan to get out of it. By the end of episode 16, we don't quite know what that plan is yet.
Yes.
And Light and Misa were in prison, so...
Yes, I was gonna say, so I remember leaving off, they had Misa, like, she was being questioned and basically, like, restrained and questioned. They were trying to figure out if she was Kira.
Yep.
And then L and his dad were in prison, right?
Yep. Yes, Light and his dad.
Not L, I'm sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
Light and his dad. Okay. Yeah, so they were in prison. So that's where we left off. So do you want to go through 17?
Yes, so Elle releases Light and Misa, but has Light's dad enact a plan. This plan involves Light's dad pretending that they're to be executed. This is very dramatic, but because of it, the two are able to be released. Elle is still suspicious, however, and Light's still a member of the investigation team, but due to his suspicions, he's been handcuffed to Elle. A weird conversation happens, and then the investigation team moves into a new building special built for the purpose of doing the investigation. And at the end, we find out more about Light's plan as the Shinigami Ren gives the Death Note to a businessman tied to the Yotsuba group, and 8 members of Yotsuba meet up and plan to use the Death Note to benefit the group. 18. Elle is depressed by the lull in the case, and Light gets upset at him. Then the two get into a fight because of this. Later, Elle and Light work together to get information that Kira is killing in a way that supports the Yotsuba group. Kira then forces the police to stop investigating the case, and this causes the police members who are on the investigation team to either quit the police or quit the investigation team. One of the members ultimately does quit the investigation team, and Elle brings on 2 new team members who are criminals.
Oh, I didn't catch that they were criminals.
Yeah, I forget what their specific skill sets were, but they were explicitly, like, outside the law.
Okay.
Yeah. 19. Matsuda feels insecure about his place in the Kira investigation and decides to take matters into his own hands. To do this, he breaks into Yotsuba to investigate, confirm their theory, and he finds out that they are in fact tied to Kira, but then gets caught, so Elle then has to come up with a plan to rescue them, and because he's been acting as Misa's manager, because they still are suspicious of Misa, they want to monitor her, that means that they set up an event where he's gonna, promote Misa to Yotsuba, and so they have a party to do this, where Misa and a bunch of other models show up, and in the party, Matsuda pretends to be drunk and fall off the balcony,
Mm-hmm.
and thus saving him. 20. The investigation team bugs the Yotsuba group's building, which allows them to listen in on their meeting. This confirms that the members' meeting do in fact have ties to Kira because they're openly discussing it. The members of the team want to arrest the group with this evidence, but L wants to wait and gather more information. Light then quickly comes up with a plan to turn one of the members to gather more information and also delay the killings, because they're saying like, we're gonna use Kira to kill these people and they want to stop that. And Light's successful with this, but the rift caused by the difference in plan between L and the rest of the investigation team remains. After the meeting, L still suspects Light of being the first Kira, and has also found out Light's plan. He kind of is testing him. And the plan is, as far as we know so far, is that Light's gonna get rid of the Kira power and have it come back to him once he's cleared of suspicion. Of course, Light has no memory of this, so argues about it and basically gives the game away. And after this, L decides to carry out his own investigation, separate from the rest of the team members. And L's plan is to use Misa to find out who the new Kira is. 21. The third Kira is interested in Misa after finding out she was arrested under suspicion of being the second Kira. Misa has an interview with the Yotsuba group, during which she meets with Rem. Rem then reminds her some of her lost memories and reveals who the third Kira is. Misa gets back to the task force. She decides to take it upon herself to get more information, and does so, gets hard evidence of the third Kira's identity. And that's where we leave off.
Yep. All right. So, going back to episode 17, I was a little confused about the other group that came into this. So, I didn't really understand. I didn't remember, how Rem had given the death note to somebody else. I actually could not remember, what happened to the death note, because we start off 17, I think, right? Isn't Misa still, being interrogated? And they show, Mr. Yagami and Light are still in prison. They've been in prison for 50 days. And L is just, determined that he is Kira. Misa's still restrained. The other police guys are, trying to convince L that none of them should be in prison. So, that's kind of how we start off, right? And I just didn't remember, what does this other group have to do with it? And then it wasn't until you just went through it, the whole giving the death note, which I didn't remember, how Rem decided to give the death note to that person.
We don't have the full information as of yet.
Okay.
We get more about this in future episodes.
Got you. Because I was did I just forget about that? Did I miss something? I just was very unsure in this episode of, what was going on. So, the whole thing about, Mr. Yagami, I never remember his first name, but, the dad.
I don't think they ever say it, do they? Rarely.
Maybe not. Ever. And I'm is it Detective Yagami? Whatever. Mr. Yagami, he, gets them out of jail and is bringing them to their execution, supposedly. Like you said, that was, real dramatic.
Yeah.
And he's I'm gonna kill you, and then I'm gonna, do it myself. And, he's bluffing, but it's just, real, how did they know, that would work? Or, what were they thinking about that? To me, that was kind of a weird plan.
Oh, well, L says, right? He explains it.
Right, L explains it, but to me, it was kind of, still, a weird kind of plan. I don't know. So that, to me, was, just a little weird. And then, the other group of people, which is the company, Yotsuba, whatever it's called. Is that what it's called? Yotsuba, okay. And they think that, one of them is Kira, but, that's kind of where, so I was just a little confused at this episode. That's kind of where we left off. I didn't really know. I was I gotta get into the next one, because I don't really understand what's happening. I got most of the part, but I was who is this group of people? That was the main thing for me that was causing confusion, was the Yotsuba company. And I was like, how are they involved? Like, I just didn't really understand that part. So it was a little confusing for me.
Well, do you still need it explained?
No, I got it now.
Okay.
But when I was watching that episode, I was like, what does this group have to do with anything? And also, the couple of people, I think it was the couple of people that Elle brought in. Like, one was the lady. I didn't know who she was. Like, I don't know if I just couldn't remember if they had, like, gone over it in the previous episodes.
Oh, that's what? Well, I thought we were talking about 17. Or are we just moving around in anywhere?
Yeah, I'm talking about 17. Oh, that's not in that one where the ladies in there?
No, that's 18 where he introduces the new team.
Oh, okay, got you. Yeah. Now, so yeah, episode 18, when they introduced that lady, I didn't catch it. Now, I will tell you, I was watching it late at night and I started falling asleep, so I might have missed it. But I was like, who is this lady? So who is that lady?
I don't remember her name.
I don't need her name, but like, what was she? Is she just one of the people that Elle brought in?
Yeah, she's one of the people we brought on that's a criminal. She's specifically like bugging all the like she's the one who got into the company and bugged it.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, so in the plot synopsis I said there was a weird conversation. What'd you think of that?
The weird conversation,
After the whole stunt with Light's dad, they moved to a hotel where Elle handcuffs Light to himself, and then they have a conversation, and it's weird.
When they start fighting?
That's before that. The fighting happens in the next episode.
Oh, okay. The weird conversation when he handcuffs.
You don't remember this conversation?
Yeah, but I thought that was in episode 18.
No, there's two conversations. There's the episode 18 conversation where they get in a fight, and there's the episode 17 conversation where Misa's, like, mildly homophobic.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, so the 17 conversation. Misa is so goofy to me. Like, her character is so bizarre. She's, like, so in love with Light that she would do anything, but she's also, like, obsessed with Kira. And it makes you think, like, is she really, like, is she just playing them? Is she, like, really just a super goofy character? You know what I mean? Like, so I think her character is just, like, a little bizarre anyway. So, yeah, the whole conversation that they have was just definitely weird, how you said it.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff with Misa, I don't really understand how it fits in or why. Like, how is this, like, advancing the plot? You know what I mean?
What? Which part?
Just, like, all the stuff with Misa, I'm just kind of, like, going, like, her exactly what you're saying, like, her conversations, like, some of the stuff she says, I'm just like, is so goofy. Like, how is this advancing the plot?
I don't think it is. I think the point's, like, that it is goofy.
Yeah.
Like, in the conversation I'm talking about in 17 in particular, like, she just, like, fully doesn't understand why things are happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Elle's saying, you know, he's gonna be surveilling, Light 24/7, and Misa's like, I don't get it, like, you're weird, why are you doing this?
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, I understand that, like, they don't have the memory of the Death Note, right? So, like,
yeah.
I get that there's, like, confusion, but to me, she's just so ditzy.
Yeah.
That I'm just kind of like, it's so weird to me.
She also just, like, flat out basically admits that she's the second Kira, even without her memory. Like,
how does she know that, though?
No, she doesn't. Like, Elle says something to the effect of, like, you're certainly the second Kira.
Okay.
During this conversation, just because of, like, the way she talks about Kira.
Got you, yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I thought you meant she, like, came out and said it, and I was like, I don't remember that. But, yeah.
No, she just basically, like, totally oblivious to the fact that she's, like...
Right.
Making herself suspicious.
Yeah, like, she's super goofy. That's what I don't really understand. But, I mean, I understand, like, why. But, like, do they have to make her so, like, stereotypical, you know, ditzy...
Yeah.
Blonde, you know what I mean? Like, I just thought that was a little, you know... We talked about, like, the over sexualization, like it's just kind of one of those like I felt like it could have been a better character, in other words.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like I said the last time we did Death Note on the podcast.
Yeah.
Wish she was better written.
Yes. So yeah, that whole thing's definitely weird. So 17, like I said, wasn't my favorite. I thought it was real dramatic. I was a little confused. And it just was overall kind of an odd episode to me.
Yeah, and I like just to me the weird conversation where multiple points I was watching it and I'm just like, what are we even doing here?
Mm-hmm.
And then like the whole like L like had this special building procured or built or whatever. Like,
we didn't even talk about that yet. So
yeah.
Elle's like, hey, while we were doing this investigation on the side, I built a whole 23-story building. You're like, what?
Yeah.
Like, where did that come from? And, like, at one point, one of the characters is like, how did you finance this? Or something like that. And they never really answer it. So I'm just like, definitely, I think you pointed out perfectly. Definitely like that superhero feel. Where you're like, okay, how do they build a building that fast, first of all? Like, it's just crazy to me.
Well, it's also different in tone. Like, that's a sort of, like, zanier thing, like, kind of lighter, and, Death Note previously was a lot more grounded and, like, darker, you know, they're not, like,
very
building, like, super buildings that are, like, special built for the investigation team, and it's all cool, and then, like, again, weird conversations that are happening.
Yes.
And I feel like they're like doing different things with the characters, and you see that in 17, like starting in 17, where like Matsuda's, I mean, they constantly call him an idiot, and he's just kind of like this, like, you know, he was like meant to be naive in the beginning because he's like a recent recruit to the police, but he wasn't like incompetent, and they're like doing that with him. And the whole thing with the other detective that ends up leaving the investigation, like, he's barely a character. I mean, the background investigation team members, none of them really have much character. You know, they're background characters. And he suddenly has, like, his own conflict here.
Yeah.
It's just kind of strange.
That was strange to me, too. It was a little clunky, like...
Yeah.
It was like... As you said, these are just like background characters. Now all of a sudden they're like all concerned about his problem, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I didn't really get where that was going either.
And again, it's just kind of goofy in the tone, like, in a way it wasn't before.
Yeah.
Right, so 18, or do we have any more notes on 17? I mean, I'm also jumping around a bit, so...
No, 17's fine. Let's go to 18.
Alright, the fight.
Yeah, so this is where the fight was. Okay.
Yeah.
So this was very surprising to me because Light has been kind of this, you know, when we first started out, he was this kind of quiet, you know, university student or whatever student.
He was high school and he graduates during the course of the...
There you go. Event. Yes. Yeah. So he's just like the studious, you know, kind of quiet character who like didn't get out much. Now all of a sudden he's like having a fit of rage and like punching L, and I'm just kind of like going like, what? Where did this come from? I mean, I get the frustration being in prison for 50 days, but it's just like, okay.
Yeah,
like that was a little
moment.
Yeah, and how they're all like the other characters, like the other investigators, like absolutely can't stand Misa. Like,
yes.
I was just kind of like, okay, like it was just a little over the top. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot of like emotions bubbling up, but like very aggressive, like emotions bubbling up.
Yeah, it's like once again we've like switched genres. It feels like.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, just strange.
So one of the other things I didn't really understand was, so the Yotsuba group who's meeting, they're like talking about like how their stock increases, like as they kill people, like their stock's been increasing. And this was, again, I was confused because I was like, what? Like, I don't really, It was just a whole like subplot that I just was not getting. And I was just kind of like, okay, this is a little weird too. Like, I just didn't understand like why we went there. Like, like, why do I care about this company? You know, in other words.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that to me was a little weird. Yeah.
Well, I mean, but in 18, that's when they get on the trail of it. Like, basically, that somehow this company was involved in Light's plan. That's all we know so far because Rim was giving the death note to them.
Right.
That Light had given up, and that they're using the death note to, like, enrich themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, during this episode, Elle and Light, well, Light first, and then Elle starts getting on it, but they get the information that, like, hey, Yotsuba might be tied in with this somehow.
Right. I just thought that whole little, like, subplot was a little weird. But it's just like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's also, like, maybe better to save this for, the next set of episodes, but to me, this subplot's just, like, kind of superfluous.
Yeah,
all in
I
all.
agree completely. Yeah, because, like, as I said, I was like, why do I care about these people sitting around meeting? And it's like all they do is meet all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, okay. And then, so the other part where the one detective who, like, leaves, he's, like, in the park or something and, like, sees his family and starts crying. Like, that to me was also one of those things where, like, okay, like, why is he crying? Like, I just did not, I wasn't following this episode. You know what I mean? I was kind of like, where did this come from? Because as we said, for one, is a background character. Then all of a sudden he has this conflict, and then he leaves, and then he starts crying when he sees his family. So I was like, this is just a little odd to me.
Okay, so the Wikipedia synopsis says that the reason he was crying because he actually wanted to stay on the investigation team.
Okay.
The way I interpreted it was that he was just, like, kind of overwhelmed with emotion about, like, having to give up on the case and also, like, finally getting time to spend with his family.
Yeah.
But also, like, you know, like we've been saying with the background character. Again, like, what does this subplot add?
Right. What does it add? Nothing. Like, to me, unless it's, like, just meant to show that, like, stakes are high, emotions are high. You know, like, I just didn't. I just didn't like that part. I was like, okay, next. Yeah.
Yeah, they do pay this off later.
Okay.
Mild spoilers for you.
Uh-oh.
But his family doesn't need to be involved at all.
Okay. Yeah.
And I will say, like, yeah, you know, you put up, like, you're mentioning, like, you don't really care for the Yotsuba thing. That, yeah, like, because we know at this point, like, they're involved in Light's plans somehow, but, like, Light's plan's basically, like, a get around from the main conflict between him and Elle. That, like, we're having this, like, episodes-long diversion into this secondary thing because Light basically got caught because of Misa.
Yeah, but when you're watching, when I was watching episode 17, 18, I was just kind of like, well, we veered off course. Like, you know, it's kind of like, okay, let's see what happens, you know?
Yeah, right, and then 19?
19, so I like how your boy sneaks up and is like, in the meeting of the Yotsuma group and, like, gets caught. He tries to, like, play it off as being Misa's manager.
Which he has been acting as.
Right. So that's what I was like, is he really her manager? Like,
yeah, they say that in episode 17, yeah.
Okay. But I didn't realize, like, if he was really her manager or if he was, like, just acting as her manager for the investigation purposes. You know what I mean?
I mean, both, you know.
Okay.
It's easiest to do that if he is actually the manager.
Okay, so that part, I was like, is he really her manager? Anyway, so he tries to play it off. He's, like, promoting his client. And they kind of believe him, kind of don't believe him. And they're like, well, let's see where this goes. And then, you know, as you said, they have the whole little reception, which to me was also a little weird. They bring in all these, like, models and they're having this party. And then your boy, I forget his name.
Matsuda. That's the title of the episode. How could you forget?
Oh, Matsuda. Well, I did write down Matsuda. I just didn't look. Okay, so then Matsuda, he is pretending like he's drunk. He does a handstand, right? Falls off the building. This is where I don't understand. How did he not die?
He fell to a lower floor.
Oh,
he didn't fall all the way down.
I thought they showed him laying on the ground.
Yeah, that was one of the new team members acting as him.
Okay, I totally missed some stuff. As I said, I was kind of falling asleep. So that's where I was like, how did he not die? I really was sitting there going I know this is all part of the plan, but they showed a body on the ground. So I was confused. So obviously it's just my fault. I wasn't paying enough attention.
Yeah, they were on a lower floor to catch him with a mattress.
Okay, got you. Yeah, I must have fallen asleep during that part. I was dozing off, but I thought I caught everything, and apparently I did. I need to go back and rewatch that episode, because I was just what? Is he really her manager? The whole 17, 18, 19 was me just being confused.
Yeah, okay.
But as I said, I did watch them late one night, so... But the rest of the episodes I watched early, so I was not confused.
Okay. Yeah, I don't... Like I was saying, I don't like the direction they took this character.
Yeah.
Him just being kind of like an oaf. I don't know. It's weird to me. I don't think we need this sort of comic relief, I guess. I'm not even sure if that's the point here. It's just kind of he's just dumb and goofy for some reason. I don't get the point. Why take the character in this direction, especially when that's not what he's been acting as before.
Yeah, and they're all exasperated with him, and I'm just kind of when did that start? Yeah, agree.
Yeah, and this whole thing's kind of a nothing episode because they were already getting information about Yotsuba Group. He didn't need to do this. He sped it up a little bit, but not all that much. And you could cut this episode and not lose anything, honestly.
Yeah, completely agree. And throughout this group of episodes, we're seeing here and there, people kind of going rogue,
Yeah.
He was I'm, tired of this investigation taking so long. Let me go sneak up to this meeting and put my ear to the door. Well, that's just super goofy.
It wasn't that he was tired of it. He was feeling insecure. Because everybody else was all, finding stuff out and, pulling their own weight, and he was all oh, I don't want to be left behind or whatever.
I got you. Yeah, but I thought it was just let me tiptoe up to the door and put my ear to it. I felt they would have had, security out there or something if they're having these, super secretive meetings about killing people.
Well, they probably don't want the security to find out,
True. Very true. Yeah, so I agree. I thought that was a little goofy.
Yeah. Alright, well, you want to do 20 now?
Yeah, so 20... So I didn't know, and I don't know if nobody knows or if I just was a little slow, as I said, but I was is Kira controlling the Yotsuba group, or are they controlling, Kira, acting as Kira? So at first, I didn't understand that part.
It's that one of the people in the group is Kira, but the rest of them don't know who Kira is. They just know Kira's among them.
Right. Well, I, understood that later, but at first I was is Kira controlling this group? That was my question, but I guess they explain it later. So that was my first where I was okay. And then when Elle and Light start fighting again, I was geez. I mean, I guess they'll do that to you if you're handcuffed to somebody 24/7. But I was the violence, I just don't know where that came from. Again, Light's always been this kind of quiet. I mean, I know he changed a lot when he got the Death Note, but he supposedly, has no memory of the Death Note. So I'm just going why is he so aggressive here? But maybe it's all the frustration of constantly being accused of being Kira, you know what I mean? So, they had that fighting again.
Yeah.
And then Elle decides, he wants to go after Kira by himself. but then he gets Misa like in on the investigation. The one thing I don't really care for through all of this is I feel like Elle is very manipulative in like getting Kira to do things for their benefit to solve the investigation, because he knows that she is like absolutely in love with Light and would do anything for him. So like that's the kind of the part where I'm just like, yeah, that's manipulation right there, you know.
Yeah.
But all in for the greater good, I guess, right?
Yeah,
but,
that's definitely his thinking.
Yeah, so I mean, I get that, but I was just like, I sometimes don't like how Elle is just like moving everybody around like his pawns, you know what I mean? But I mean, that's the reason he's in charge of the investigation.
Yeah, and also this weird love triangle thing going on in these episodes, especially this one, I feel like.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why, but that, it feels like that's what the writing's going for, is there's supposed to be a little bit of, like, a love triangle tension here.
Yeah, definitely can see that. And yeah, I was wondering too, like, is that leading up to like future episodes, or is it just to add some more colorful commentary there? You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't really, or if it was like, is Elle just kind of, again, just being manipulative? You know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely weird. And of course, Misa still acting a fool over there.
Yep.
But, I mean, she ends up proving her worth in the next episode, right?
Yeah, that's true. I will say the thing about this is that, like, you know, previously, when Light had the Death Note, he was like, oh, I need to manipulate Misa. You know, I need, like, have her do exactly what I want. And now that he doesn't have it, he's all like, oh no, she can't do this, it's too dangerous. And like, oh, I would never manipulate her, even if it was for the investigation.
Right? Yeah, it's like a total, 180.
Yep.
On his character, and which, I mean, he's had a few 180s throughout the episodes because of how the Death Note changed him, but yeah, I agree. And now you're seeing like Elle is the one who's kind of doing the manipulation, and as you said, Light's like, no, we can't do that. So Light's morals are kind of funny to me, because he's like, oh, absolutely, like, I would never hurt Misa that way. But then, like, he'll punch Elle, you know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, but it's just... And like I said in the last set of episodes, I don't like this turn for Light. Like, I don't like that, the implication is that, like I said, that the Death Note was just corrupting him.
Yeah.
I don't like that sort... Like, to me, that's just much weaker.
I agree.
And I don't like how, like, it's, exemplified with Misa here. It's just... Wish they wrote that better.
Yeah, because in my mind, if your personality and your values have changed because of the Death Note, even though you have no recollection of all of that, right? When you give the Death Note away, you lose your memory of it. You would still think that, like, his character would carry over some of those, changed values, right?
Yeah. Well, like, I don't, like, fundamentally like the idea that the Death Note, like, created who Light was in, like, the beginning of the series. I think it's better if he's just, like, that kind of person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then 21, or you have more to say on 20?
No, that's all I have for 21. So this is where Misa takes it upon herself to figure out who Kira really is, with Rem's help, of course.
Yes.
But, Rem's like, listen to Light. Light's gonna guide you. Like, just trust him and do whatever he says. And then Misa's like, nope, I'm gonna do it myself. So she gets guidance from Rem, who tells her who the new Kira is. And then she's just like, well, I have my own plan. So this definitely shows, like, Misa has more depth, which we already knew that. But she's like, I'm going to do this myself. And she gets the hard evidence. Well, I guess, I don't know if it's hard evidence, but she gets him recorded. She gets basically a confession recorded. Yeah. So that is, I actually liked that part, that how she like kind of went rogue and did her own thing. But at the same time, you're kind of like, is this like the whole Matsuda thing where he's like going off on his own and it's gonna like blow up in his face? Like is she doing that as well, or is it gonna come out okay? So thought that was kind of funny because she kind of just like slid past what the investigators are all telling her to do, and she just did her own thing.
Yeah. Which, yeah, I mean, I thought episode 21 was fine, you know?
Yeah.
Like that whole thing, yeah, it's fine writing-wise to me. I will say I do like the bit, and I believe it's in this episode, where Light confronts the fact that the first Kira's actions line up with his beliefs.
Yes, that's true.
Like, you know, like I was saying a minute ago. I feel like I like that as, like, you know, again, the Death Note's not a corrupting influence, he's just like that. And that sort of shows that.
I like that too, because this was really kind of the first time where he's like, well, could I have been the first Kira? And I like how he was kind of wrestling with it a bit and like felt bad that he would even think that, you know, like, was it me, you know?
Yeah.
So I like that part, like the struggle that he was kind of going through. To me, was definitely more in line with the storyline than like some of these other, you know, kind of subplots that were going on.
Yeah, and so we basically end there with Misa having figured out the identity of the third Kira, and them like gearing up to do something with that information.
Yeah. But you also have to wonder, like, okay, is she putting herself in the line of fire where the new Kira is just gonna have her killed? Or, like, what's gonna really happen with that, you know?
Yeah. Or, you know, because the way... Elle's kind of suspicious of the way, like, how she got information to discover that.
Right.
And, you know, it's like, is he gonna, like, get on to the fact that, like, she's still involved in this as the second Kira? Or, like, you know, what's going on there?
You feel like it's gonna come out. Yeah, exactly. So, the whole time, like, you're not really sure, like, do you want Elle to figure it all out? Or, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like, or just let bygones be bygones and just take care of the new Kira since they have no memory of the other stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, let it go. You know what I mean?
Well, what do you think's gonna happen next?
Oh my goodness. Well, how many episodes are there total?
37. We just finished 21, so we're over the halfway point.
Wow, yeah. So we still got a good bit to go, though. I have no idea what's going to happen next. I like that they are kind of evolving Misa's character a little bit, and hopefully she's not just the same old, like, annoying, ditzy girl that everyone hates, you know what I mean? So, maybe they'll keep doing that. I really don't know. I feel like, honestly, I think Light is gonna figure out that he was Kira, and he's just going to come to that realization based on, you know, mounting evidence. And I don't know what he's gonna do about that, though.
Well, do you think his plan's gonna work as Elle laid out, that he's intentionally got rid of the Kira power and is waiting for it to come back to him?
I don't think that's gonna work out, because I feel like Elle knows his plan, you know, and I think because Elle is thinking through it, like, he's not gonna let that happen. So I don't think the plan's gonna work out.
Alright, but Elle doesn't know the mechanism by which, like, all this works, you know? He doesn't know what the Death Note is, or what, you know, that Shinigami are real.
I just feel like Elle's going to outsmart, like, I feel like he's too smart to let this plan come to fruition.
Okay, and what do you think happens with the third Kira?
The third Kira, I feel like he's gonna get caught some kind of way. Like, I mean, I know they already know that that's the third Kira.
Yes.
But I feel like something's gonna happen to where, like, he's not gonna keep being the third Kira.
Alright, any other predictions?
Predictions? I don't know why, but for some reason I feel like their big tower is gonna, like, explode or something. it's somehow gonna be like a target and it's gonna just like explode.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know why. But...
Any wish lists, maybe? You know, things you want to happen in the series?
What I want to happen, like, I kind of want Light to realize the impact that he has had and, like, realize the error of his ways and how corrupt he got and that he is responsible for, like, all these murders. Like, I want him to take ownership of that because so far he's been like, they deserve to die. Like, he had this like sense of justice to where he's like, I'm not doing anything wrong. And I feel like he needs to see that, like, he still was killing people. Misa, I don't know if she's capable of like feeling those things on that level, but I feel like Light is.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
For all of those.
No spoilers. Am I right on any of this?
I can't say, can I?
Oh well. Oh well. We'll see what happens.
Yes. Yeah, let me see if any other notes here. Yeah, I guess, I'll just reiterate that, like I said, I don't like the direction this has gone from the previous episodes. I mean, I said that about the last set of episodes, which you seem to be higher on than I was.
I was just a little more... I was way more confused with this set of episodes. But 20 and 21 were fine, I thought. The other ones were not the best. Yeah.
Right. But yeah, again, like, I don't like this whole, like, Yotsuba diversion.
Yeah, I don't either.
I think just, like, plot-wise, that's, like, it feels like an unnecessary way to prolong the series.
Yeah, agree.
But yeah, so... And again, you know, with the 2021, like, my, opinion of this previously was that this whole section was just bad, and, you know, it was... I guess pleasantly surprising to, like, that it wasn't as bad as I previously thought. You know, there's some fine sections in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, if that's everything, you can take us out.
All right, that's it. That has been episodes 17 through 21 of Death Note. Join us next time. We hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
Bye.